Oh. I have a zit. I know it's not a big deal. People get them all the time. But I never used to. When recalling their teen years, lots of people have memories involving awkwardness, braces, and acne. However, I never had to deal with acne in my adolescence, which I'm told is a blessing. I rarely got zits in college. Maybe once or twice, and only because they were induced by the stress of final exams. But now, in my mid-20s, I get zits far more frequently than I did in my teens. Is that normal? The fact that I'm only now dealing with acne woes, a typically teenage experience, got me thinking about Arrested Development. Not Arrested Development, the show. By the way, is anyone else really excited for the show's return in 1 month? On Netflix? If that's not the best argument to sign up for Netflix, I don't know what is. Man, I really need to get Netflix. Anyway, I've been thinking about how the line between different stages of development is much blurrier than one would expect. You don't wake up one morning and go, okay, I've stepped over this arbitrary line in the timeline of my development. I am officially a grown-up. Growing up, I was always very concerned about how my own development compared to those of my friends and peers. I would use the milestones in their development as markers for my own, things to strive towards so that I would be on the same level as them, so that I wouldn't feel so behind. When I was 10 and my friend got her own Discman, I wanted one too, to show that I was old enough to carry my own music. When I was 14 and all my peers were getting contact lenses, I wanted them too, to show that I was responsible enough to maintain them. When I was 17 and all my friends had cell phones, I wanted one too, to show that I was mature enough to have one. I suppose this feeling of needing to be at the same level as my peers stems from my preschool years. As a 3-year-old, I was placed in 4-year-old kindergarten, so when I finally turned 4, my teachers thought that I was cognitively ready to advance to 5-year-old kindergarten. My parents weren't sure if I was emotionally ready to take such a large step, so in coordination with my teachers, they conducted an assessment. While my mom was in the next room, a teacher brought me into a classroom filled with the coolest toys imaginable. I was only supposed to be there for 10 minutes. In this beautiful room of toys, I spent the entire time sitting in the middle of the carpet, crying for my mom. Based on that, my parents didn't think that 4-year-old me was ready for 5-year-old kindergarten, so I stayed in preschool for another year. Since then, I was always afraid of being left behind on the road of development, so when I couldn't meet the same markers that my peers did, I'd be disappointed with myself. Even now, as an adult, I still struggle with the feeling of being left behind. There are days when I wonder how different things would be if I had progressed more in the professional and personal aspects of my life. But I realize that development is not a staircase of stages, where you're only allowed a certain amount of time in one stage before you're supposed to advance to the next one. And certain experiences don't have to be confined to a certain stage. For example, I'm 25, and I still get that childlike excitement when I come across anything Harry Potter. Just the other day, I had this really strong urge to sit down and marathon a bunch of Disney movies. What defines our personal growth is not the things that we own or the activities that we do, but how we engage in life. What do you do when you're presented with a challenge, faced with responsibilities, or confronted with a difficult situation? How do you find the courage to make a tough decision? Can you exercise control over your impulses? Do you hold yourself personally accountable for poor choices? Can you communicate your feelings with those you care about? Can you stand by your beliefs when they are challenged? These are the things by which we should mark our development. These are the things that afford us opportunities for personal growth. Everyone grows at their own rate, so it doesn't really make sense to measure one's growth against another's. Certain experiences will occur at different stages for different people, even if it's something like getting zits in your mid-20s. Anyway, that's what I've been thinking about this week. But how about you guys? Do you ever feel like you're in a state of arrested development? And if you do, how do you deal with it? If you have any thoughts on the matter, please let me know. From one human being to another. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next week. So when I finally turned 4, my teachers thought I was cognitively ready to be moved up to 5th grade. 5th grade. Wow. Wow, really advanced 3-year-old there.